With me now, California Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff, ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, what a pleasure to see you.
Thanks. Good to be with you.
What are your hopes for this meeting between Putin and our Secretary of State?
Well, I'm setting my expectations pretty low, but I do think that there's going to come a point as the Assad regime weakens where Russia's going to realize that Assad is not capable of keeping this country together and ruling it indefinitely, that there's going to have to be a post-Assad transition. And as we get closer and closer to that point, hopefully we can find some way of working with Russia to identify what that transition government will be, how to avoid the state just collapsing and providing new ground for ISIS and al-Qaeda.
Is it too late for that, though? I mean, Congressman, the situation there is so dire, and there are, what, 1,500 opposition groups in Syria alone that we know of?
I don't think it's too late in the sense that up till now it really hasn't been ripe for discussion. We've had these Geneva 1 talks and Geneva 2 talks that never went anywhere because essentially at that time the Russians believed they could still prop up and save Assad, but they may be coming around to the conclusion that Assad is going to be ultimately a lost cause. And they have an interest in finding some kind of an orderly substitute, some kind of a friendly government in Damascus that won't be a terrorist-oriented regime. So I think up until now, frankly, it hasn't been sufficiently ripe, and maybe what Kerry is trying to determine is it ripe now to have these conversations?
And, Congressman, finally, I need to ask you about the impending fight over the PATRIOT Act. The provisions that cover NSA data collection are expiring next month. And we know several lawmakers, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, want a clean renewal. How do you see it?
Clean renewal is not going to happen. There just aren't the votes for it in the House, and I think what we're looking at is either a major reform like the USA Freedom Act, which I support, the administration has now in the last 24 hours endorsed, or it's going to be an expiration of these provisions. So I think while McConnell may have laid that down as his opening bid, it's really a non-starter, and I think we're going to see ultimately something like US Freedom Act, rather, become the law of the land.
Congressman, very quickly, if it does expire, what is the law then of the land on that?
Well, it means that the authorities that Section 215 provides for, which go beyond telephone metadata, will expire along with it, and some important programs will go away, or important capabilities. That's not in the national interest, and I think wiser heads are going to prevail ultimately, and we'll have very substantial reforms, which the USA Freedom Act represents, and I think that'll be a positive step forward in terms of maintaining capabilities, but also maintaining privacy.
Congressman Adam Schiff, always a pleasure. Thank you for being with me.